Bonjour, bonjour, mes amis. Aujourd'hui, l'Étendard. So, the Étendard is actually, believe it or not, a French plane. And this is the very first battle, and I had not planned to, do anything in particular. But this might be the dumbest thing that you see. I make so many mistakes and get away with it. Actually, it's not played really terrible, but people that know what they're doing in jets will look at this battle and just they will smack themselves really hard by trying to facepalm. Now, I'm playing at the very beginning rather defensively, right? And this is right after the battle, and I just didn't realize it at the time. I make so many non-critical aspects that I think that I've come to a point where I get somewhat okayish results, where I know where to position myself, at which point where to be to set which course at the beginning of the battle in chat matches. And this might be a key aspect. Now, I made some videos in the past where the first battle that I played was really, really great. And I cannot really tell you anything about this plane that you couldn't figure out in one or two battles for yourself if you have it. Now, there is a big brain gameplay here, because this is in the last couple of days of a test drive of this plane by Gaijin, and it's the only plane left that I have to research in the French tech tree. So I'm researching this plane by playing this plane, which is great. Believe me, it is truly awesome. And of course, therefore, it's fully upgraded. So this is fully upgraded performance. The plane doesn't really look like the most beautiful thing ever. Étendard actually means banner in English. And so I kind of, this nose section should be in the French colors, right? What about the armament of this plane? Let's go quickly through that. Well, there are DEFA, two 30mm DEFA cannons with 240 rounds between them. That's not the greatest amount of ammunition. And this Voiture 2, well, such bombers at this distance, they're not really that easy with, air-to-air missiles. That's one of those satisfying things when you have air-to-air missiles. For those bombers, you have to see this is a premium bomber. So you play it a lot. And you're used to outrunning your enemies and having the speed advantage. Air-to-air missile says nope. Versus this guy in this hard turn, no, it's actually not working out. So, again, I'm not really quite sure what to say about this battle. But I think it's the main message for this battle is that even if you are not a rattlesnake on crack, there are some decisions that you should make when you do what basic idea, when you say, okay, I help kind of this furball out. I try to reduce the amount of enemy players in this section. When you activate your air-to-air missile. And, versus this guy, this was played very poorly. But I choose to keep my speed and to turn away, and then obviously an F-86 comes in, and I noticed it a bit too late, and I take here serious damage. The inner right wing and the engine are busted. Not completely though. So I kind of survived this, but my performance is overall pretty trash right now. So that means in the next few minutes I have to be on the runway. Not returning to the runway, but be at the runway. That was some terrible shooting here. And you know what? This guy is maneuvering, he is rolling. This is pretty hard to deal with guns. But with air-to-air missiles, I figured out, hey, it's actually not the worst thing that it can do. And that guy just flew right into my shots. They were so badly placed, and yet I got away with a kill, right? So then I see the Hunter, and just look how this plane turns now with all this damage. It's not really great. The G91 is coming in, and I think to myself, okay, let's see what we can do with this. And obviously he goes for the head-on. and I dodge it. I narrowly dodge it. There was not that much that I could do, and then a swift F1 on my tail. Having played the Swift recently, I have the decent expectation that this guy just also tries to use his speed. Terrible shooting. I activated the air-to-air missile way too late, and I shot at not the greatest point, but still I get a critical hit. And so I think to myself, observing here the damage, well, he is at least out of the fight. At least that's what I expect. His engine is busted, you could see it with the smoke, and there is another Swift coming in. And so now I just realize how bad the performance of the engine has suffered from this hit by now. Jet engines die significantly quicker, and there we get the third kill, than prop engines. And I have the overwhelming majority of my experience comes from jet engines, from prop engines. But I don't really think that I am the worst jet pilot that there is, because I know the fundamentals, the basics, and I had some great battles already. It's just that I don't really care too much about jets, unless now, because I wanted to make a video on a French jet and not a premium, that is. So I also thought, let's give this thing a try. And again, it is this luck of the first battle, where you just try out something and you do stupid things. You do maneuvers where people say, duh, that's dumb. I mean, for instance, I did not do a test flight. I had even no idea if this thing had air brakes. And yes, it does, but they are not the best. Does it have a brake parachute? You know, what kind of plane is it even? It's stated as a naval fighter, jet fighter, so it might also start from an aircraft carrier on, for example, the Spain map, which can be dangerous, to say the least. So here I have no idea how this plane will behave with the damage and at lower speed, right? And if it will brake in time on this way too short runway. And yeah, that is great that here I get the parachute, the brake parachute, and nice graphics, nice visuals. So I come to a stand and 20 seconds of repair, rearm, refuel. J29 is in the vicinity, and then the Swift goes down. So it seems like we have this in our hand. So there are only 2 enemies left. I'm about to be repaired, but the question is, can I make it before the J29 comes in? Because that thing has some serious firepower. It has 4 30mm. So I have what I guess is like 30 seconds to really take off, because this guy is 10 kilometers away, but then he pulls up and then he makes some maneuvers. If he, wants to go for a suicide rush on the airfield to pick up some kills. The question is, can this plane make it in time? Now, this battle rating, the battle rating of this plane is 9.3, so you will fight on a regular basis top end of the line 10.3 jets. And I'm not quite sure, but my gut feeling tells me that this is not the best plane to counter MiG-21s, but which plane aside from the Phantom is, right? When thinking about this, again, I have no experience how many up tiers you get. And maybe that's a battle rating black hole, where you are very often the end of the line top jet. So with all those things, I already have 3 kills under my belt. I think to myself, well, that's quite good. So at least it will provide some footage for, kill compilation, just, a certain scene to fill maybe a little bit of a time gap here. And now I think to myself, well, this could be awesome. The J29 gets followed by the Swift. If it's a Swift F1, it doesn't have air-to-air missiles. Maybe if he is an F7, he already has expended them. Or he tries to get the gun kill. I have no idea who is in which condition, if they are damaged. So I just follow them. You can see we can, even without any sort of afterburner, we get over 1,000 kilometers per hour. But we will not break Mach 1. So we are at 0.9 Mach. I'm not quite sure how good that is. the energy retention seems to be okayish, but not the best. I also tried to get here some gun kills in, and that is the majority of things. So he tries to fly into the map border. If he is damaged, he probably wouldn't risk this because this would get him destroyed. So I fire up the air-to-air missile and I try to climb here a little bit and use the air brake to not allow him to do the same to me. I just want to get the missile on him. And so firing it straight into the ground, and then the IR seeker just turns itself off. In the background we can see the hunter. I wait for my teammate to miss, then I fire the missile, and then I absolutely butchered here the approach on the Hunter F1, which obviously goes for the head-on, kills me. That was so stupid of me, but I critted him. And so, he goes down as well. And that, my friends, was the dumbest ace that I have had in quite a while. And that includes biplanes. So, that is the first flight of the Étendard. I think that this is just, again, a showcase of my luck with the first flyout. It is just a showcase that not having the best of trigger finger, not the best of rattlesnake performance, not like a 16-year-old Czech pro player that just has all the reflexes and the very best of internet connections. Still, with the help of air-to-air missiles and also some stupid gun kills, you get 5 kills. Again, this is not something that I'm proud of, but where I really can look at and say, that was dumb luck, and yet I got the good result. So I got some good vibes, and this was the first air battle that had this day. Nearly 12,000 vehicle research points and nearly 82,000 civilians, and researching the Étendard IVM with the Étendard IVM. Big brain gameplay here. So that's it for me today. I hope that you had a few good relaxing minutes watching this video. If so, please give it a like. If you did, subscribe if you want to see more. And as usual, we will see each other on the waves, on the battlefields, and in the skies of War Thunder.